Hey everybody, so we're in for another
Hey
episode
guys.
and we're still talking about anti-inflammation. I'm still in
Mhm.
COVID quarantine, so we're separate today. But we want to talk about anti-inflammatory supplements today. And we're as you probably know about us, we're not huge supplement pushers necessarily, but we recommend a lot of supplements and we all personally
Yes.
take supplements. We're believers in them. And you probably want to supplement your system with anti-inflammation in order to live longer and die less. Basically, inflammation is the root of all evil. So if you're on an anti-inflammatory
Die
lifestyle,
less.
food, die less. We all want to die a little less. Anti-aging, whatever your motivation is, look younger, whatever. Anti-inflammation is
Yeah.
beneficial for anyone and everyone. So we want to talk about some of the supplements. Plane flying overhead. We're going to talk about some of the supplements that we use for our patients and ones we recommend and ones you should consider taking. But the first thing we want to mention is that you cannot out supplement a bad diet. You cannot out supplement a bad lifestyle. So if you're eating cheeseburgers and French fries and not taking care of your body and drinking tons of caffeine and not sleeping enough, doing drugs, drinking too much alcohol, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
you might as well not take the supplements. Will it help? Possibly. But our
But
metaphor is like painting a burning house. It's a nice fresh coat of paint, but it's just going to get burnt
beautiful.
up. It's beautiful paint. Beautiful.
I know. Well, it's true. I mean, and if you think about it, an inflamed intestine can't absorb nutrients. Let's just be honest. And every time you're eating those really crappy foods, you're inflaming your intestines, you're inflaming your body. And then you inappropriately dump vitamins and minerals too. So you could be adding in these vitamins and minerals and anti-inflammatories, but you're inappropriately dumping them. Well, actually appropriately because you're eating bad food. But and then now you have inflamed intestines where you can't even
Shame,
absorb it.
shame, shame.
I know. So just
Yeah,
don't
so you're
waste the
making expensive
money.
poop, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, expensive poop. That's a market.
So, and so, real quick, we're going to dive straight into supplements today. But if you want to know what kind of anti-inflammatory foods and nutrition and whatnot to follow, go to our website, check out our courses, and look at our nutrition course, which isn't actually published as of the time of this recording, but it will be
It's
published
almost,
here soon in the next month or so. Get to work,
yeah.
Aubree. And no, I got my task too. Anyway, so the first supplement we want to talk about in the anti-inflammatory world is, of course, curcumin, probably the most
Yeah.
popular one, the easiest one to get. The one we carry right now is Turiva, Turiva. It's on our store. You can go buy it. But
Hmm.
Aubree, tell us a little bit about Turiva and why we love Turiva.
I like Tariba because I feel like a lot of the times what you get is an isolated compound from turmeric. You get just the curcumin, and of course they try to add black pepper or something for or biopurine for absorption, but actually increases intestinal permeability. I like Tariva because it's a full spectrum compound of turmeric itself. And the way
Mm-hmm.
that it interacts in the body is it actually interacts with those gut microbes and it's broken down in a better form, a more bioavailable form. So now you're getting
Mm-hmm.
full spectrum benefit, not just an isolate, because I could rant all day about isolates, but when you pull an isolate away from an anti inflammatory food, you don't know the synergistic properties of everything else in that food that made that isolate work appropriately. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
like Tariva. It's a full spectrum compound, the entire turmeric group.
I feel the same way about, I think in medicine, we've kind of, the pendulum is now swinging the other way where we've isolated these specific compounds and also we've tried to make it increasingly absorbed and
Yeah.
liposomal technology and all this stuff because we thought, oh, if it's absorbed, that's got to be better. But what we've neglected to understand is the impact of non-absorbed components on what it
Hmm.
has an effect on our gut. So if you have liposomal curcumin and you absorb it all in the stomach or early small intestine, maybe curcumin's main benefits, and we don't know, maybe curcumin's main benefits is actually by manipulating your microbiome, which then does its
Right.
anti-inflammatory power and
Right.
anti-inflammatory power. So that's why I like Tariva because it's kind of got the blend of everything. It's got the whole plant or the whole
Hmm.
root. So for those of you that don't know, turmeric is the plant,
Hmm.
which has roots, and then the active ingredient in turmeric is considered curcumin. So Tariva has a blend of both curcumin isolated and the full root system,
Yeah.
basically. And it makes a
Quick
nasty little orange color.
I know. Yeah,
It's kind of
it's good
gross
to
looking.
yeah. Quick little shameless plug, but if anyone's ever interested, I have no affiliation, obviously. There's a book called Whole: Rethinking the Science of Nutrition by T. Campbell. And that is my favorite book of all time, talking about isolates and what we've done to food and why you can't just take resveratrol away from grapes and why you can't take these isolates.
Right.
But they've tried to prove, and they put the science in this book, which is phenomenal, but it helps you learn that even with tens of thousands of interactions, the scientists can't even trace of what makes an isolate compound beneficial. So basically it's the magic of food and the synergistic effect too.
So by the same note, go to the grocery store, buy some turmeric, cook with
Yeah.
it, put it in your smoothie.
Yeah, you don't need much.
It's rough to cook with, but it's beneficial.
It is. You can take even just like pinky tip and put it in your smoothie and you get a huge anti-inflammatory effect.
As long as you can drink it.
There you go. All right, number 2.
So number 2, fish oil is huge in the anti-inflammatory world. So one of the things I love to talk about fish oil and why it's so beneficial is that number 1 is humans do not make fish oil. So if you are not eating the fish or not taking the oil, you just do not make those marine-based omega-3s, and plant-based omega-3s do not do nearly the benefit that animal-based omega-3s do. So for the vegans out there that are taking algae oil and stuff, it just takes a mega amount of algae oil to get your omega-3s up. And you can't just supplement with flax and stuff to get your fish oil. So specifically fish oil, the omega-3s, EPA and DHA are the main 2 to supplement. Your body will make DPA out of those. And so when you're looking for a fish oil product, you want about 600 to 700 milligrams of EPA and 300 to 400 milligrams of DHA combined for a total of about 1,600 to 2,000 milligrams per day. I'm a big believer in flip that bottle over and read the label. I have a separate video on YouTube just specifically talking about how to read a label for fish oil. So I won't talk about that much here, but make sure you're buying a good fish oil product. We use Ortho Omega from Orthomolecular. It's available in our store if you want to buy it. Pretty much everyone, you either got to eat the fish or take 2 pills per day, no questions asked. The pills are big, so for people who like liquids, Barleans is wonderful. You can get that pretty much anywhere, and it tastes like candy. Give it to the kids and stuff. But the way I like to explain fish oil is when your body is creating inflammation, so it's got an immune system, so things happen, things break, the immune system is activated, it's going to repair it, and then it's got to turn that inflammation off. And so these fish oils actually live in your cellular membrane. So when your immune system goes to turn off inflammation, it's like reaching in a bag and saying, I want to turn this inflammation off, so I'm going to grab this oil and turn off inflammation. But omega-3 is the main one that's anti-inflammatory. But if your cellular membranes are made up of primarily omega-6s like arachidonic acid, those are actually inflammatory oils. So when your immune system goes, I'm going to reach for that anti-inflammatory oil and ding, pulls out arachidonic acid, it's actually going to promote more inflammation instead of actually turning it off. So that's how fish oils work. Fish oils work by increasing the percentage of omega-3s inside your cellular membrane so that when your body goes to reach for an omega-3, it finds one and can donate it. And so when we're measuring omega-3s, we do them as percentages of the cellular membrane. So ideally, you want 8% of your cellular membrane to be fish oils or omega-3. Now, you can go much higher. You can do 10, 12% of people that eat salmon all the time and stuff, but at least you want 8%. Most people that we check when they first come to our office, we check every person's omega-3s. When they come to our office, their omega-3s are almost always 3%, unless they don't eat any fish at all or allergic, then they're under 3%. So if you're taking omega-3s, you want to make sure your doctor's checking your omega-3 level and then your omega-3s are over 8%. Because if you don't have good absorption, you have leaky gut or whatever it may be, you may actually need more fish oils to get over 8%. And if you've got a heavy inflammatory condition, then you may want 10 or 12% on the omega-3s. And on that same note, that leads to the next supplement, which is SPMs. And so, Aubree, how is SPMs a part of fish oil, and what do you want to say about SPM?
I like SPMs because they're pro-resolving mediators. Basically, they're like the isolated fractionated form of fish oil. They're the specific components, specific that act on. I know. So they act upon the anti-inflammatory prostaglandins. So, and that's what you want is the prostaglandins are responsible for pro-inflaming, right? Inflaming or anti-inflaming. And so you do need to inflame, you do need to deflame. And so these help with the anti-inflame. You know what I mean? We're just making up phrases, but you know what I mean? But this is cool because they actually promote termination of inflammation and they promote tissue repair as well. So I love SPMs because they're wonderful in COVID because they actually help with mucosal immune responses, which is very interesting. But also if you have musculoskeletal injuries or recovery from a tear or any kind of body aches, SPMs in high doses help with that musculoskeletal repair and that tissue repair and that cellular renewal. So SPMs are more targeted. They wouldn't be the thing that you do daily, like as a replacement for your fish oil, but they're they're wonderful in high doses for acute circumstances.
They're one of the most powerful things we use
Yes.
that works the fastest. And so
Yeah.
the SPMs are, you can basically look at like fancy fish oil. They're fish oil that got
Hmm.
refined down to the exact anti-inflammatory component.
Yeah.
And so for SPMs, the way we typically recommend people taking those when they're really inflamed is they take 6 capsules, which is a lot, and it's a pricier supplement. So they take
Yeah.
6 capsules per day for 10 days, and that will knock out tons of inflammation, really powerful. But that's
Yeah.
not something you need to stay on long term. So if you're going to stay on
Mm-mm.
it long term, you're going to take 1 or 2 per day, but that 6 capsules for 10 straight days to aggressively knock out
Mhm.
inflammation works really well.
Yeah, and we like SPM Supreme by Designs for Health, which is funny. There's actually 60
Hmm.
capsules. So if you buy one bottle, there's your 10 days.
10
But it's,
days. It's an
yeah,
expensive 10 days, but it
I
works.
know. But it's cheaper too. I say it's only maybe, I don't know, it's in like the 50-60 price range as opposed to another supplement company that's like $120. And so it
Yeah.
has better clinical efficacy, it's more reasonably priced, and it doesn't lose its function. I like
Hmm.
that.
And it doesn't smell like fish. That's nice.
No, and the pills
I
are
just took
little.
my SPM.
Yeah. Oh, you
They
did?
are tiny.
Good.
Yeah.
They're, yeah,
It's part
they're
of my
little pills.
COVID regimen.
There you go. There you go. Love it.
All right. Next is Aubree's favorite. So next supplement on the anti-inflammatory list is CBD. Aubree loves
Oh,
talking about CBD.
I love CBD because I think that right now there's so much bad CBD on the market.
Oh,
Um,
there's terrible CBD.
it's terrible. And I thankfully had the opportunity to work and learn in Portland about marijuana and THC versus like in hemp and everything that's included. And with CBD, you do want a full spectrum compound. You don't want something that says hemp oil. You don't want something that says isolate because it's more than CBD. You have like CBDA and you have different compounds, CBC, CBN. There's a whole list of them. But CBD is wonderful for your body for inflammation because it influences positive anti-inflammatory responses, but it's very similar to SPM where it quenches the inflammatory response itself.
Mhm.
CBD is wonderful for sleep, anxiety, mental disorders. You can't overdose. They've only like if you could chug maybe 3,000 milligrams, which is an entire bottle, and have elevated liver enzymes, but you can't overdose. No one's ever overdosed on marijuana or CBD. And with federal regulation, if you're selling CBD like we are through a practitioner and you're not in a marijuana legal state, there's no trace of marijuana in there. But you do
Mhm.
want a full spectrum compound. And it works on your endocannabinoid system, which is it's called the ECS, which we all have, which is responsible for even your nervous system, your cardiovascular system, your endocrine system, anything that you can think of. So CBD is one of those weird magical things that's like if we wanted to dive into every system how it affects it, we could, but just know that it's a nice all over anti-inflammatory, but it also calms the nervous system too, which is really important for keeping your body in a parasympathetic state instead of sympathetic, which is fight or flight. You want to be in the rest and
Mhm.
digest, that parasympathetic to prevent more inflammation as well. I love
Mhm.
ECS care. That's one of my favorite of all time. It's a liquid that's sublingual under the tongue. I think that's one of the best ways to get CBD oil is sublingual because you have to think about a broken gut and you have to think about how much are you absorbing, how much of it is actually getting down into your intestines. And with people, if you don't feel CBD, more often than not, you're not taking enough. So my suggestion
Or
is
you have a
start
bad
with
quality.
yeah, or more than often not, it's bad quality. You can take 50 milligrams of ECS care. I'm pointing to our supplement wall of ECS care, and you can feel that. But sometimes you can take 100 of a different, really bad brand, and you
Mhm.
don't feel it
Nothing.
at all. And sublingual gets straight to the bloodstream. So you can start off at 50 or 25 is just if you are very nervous start off at 25, but most people don't feel a difference until it's 50 milligrams. You can even take it 100 for pain and sleep before bed. I mean, even anxiety in hospitals, they use 300 milligrams. I say hospitals, I'm thinking of
And so
Portland.
she's saying these dosages, and if you're not familiar with it, most products over the counter, 25 milligram. What you've seen most likely and paid for over the counter is most likely 25 milligrams is the highest per
Yeah.
serving that you'll see. And the CCS care is it's 50
Three.
milligrams per half a mil, right?
Yeah. Well, we have a 1,500 milligram bottle and a 3,000 milligram bottle. And the important thing is that is 1,500 or 3,000 milligrams of CBD. You don't
Yeah,
want to buy a CBD that says hemp oil, 30 milligrams. You have no idea how much CBD is listed in there. So that you
right.
need a company that breaks it down for you and that says it's full spectrum.
And there's tons of fake marketing out there, so don't get duped right
Mhm.
now. You know
Yeah.
what you're buying.
No.
And if it doesn't work, try a different one. What's
Yeah.
fantastic about CBD is that in the anti-inflammatory world, CBD is an oil, of course,
Mhm.
and so oils can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, whereas most
Mhm.
other things cannot. So obviously, fish oil can, and SPM active should be able to because those are oils also,
Mhm.
and they're just kind of trading out cellular membranes. Those don't have quite the penetration, meaning it takes longer to change the brain's oils
Yeah.
over time. But CBD can penetrate the brain almost immediately, and that's one of the reasons why it got so famous for epilepsy and seizures, is
Mhm.
because it penetrates the brain and works really well. So
Yeah.
if you're someone that's struggling with, as Aubree said, nervous system, central nervous system, MS or brain inflammation or brain fog or fatigue, depression, anxiety, whatever may
Yeah.
be going on in your brain, CBD could be a positive benefit for you. And it's one of those things that it works if you take it. So if it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
work, just
does.
take more.
Right. And then
You
you can
smell
change it
colors.
up. I know. I love it. But, and I rarely does anyone have a bad side effect. Of course, there's genetic SNPs that don't let you process even CBD very well, but it's rare and it's mostly THC related. So more often than not,
And
just
most
change
people
your
that have bad side effects just take a nap, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just get like, I'm a little sleepy. And you just, lay down for a little bit, but then you have a great nap and you feel good when you wake up and you're like, I'm so good. But you can I like it because you can do tiny doses throughout the day for anxiety. You can do a big dose if you're having a panic attack. You can do it before bed for sleep. So it's very adjustable.
Okay.
Okay.
Next on the list is quercetin and stinging nettles, a combo supplement.
Mm-hmm.
Quercetin is probably most commonly known for its anti-allergies and
Yeah.
um, people with allergic rhinitis, the stuffy nose, the eyes, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Quercetin is most popular for that. Quercetin is also a detox agent, but it is definitely a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. Quercetin is found in like apple skin, and I don't know where else quercetin is found. Weird
Leafy green
places, right?
veggies, broccoli, red onions, peppers, apples, onions,
That's
black
more than I
tea,
knew.
matcha. You,
Yeah.
you pay me to know this. So.
Good
But
way to
yeah,
shame me.
woohoo! But yeah, apples too. So, but yeah, and I like them too. And I like the quercetin and stinging nettle combo, especially if you're having histamine responses, because histamine obviously triggers inflammation and is an inflammatory response as well. So it's really good, the combo quercetin stinging nettles for itchiness too. So if you
Mhm.
have allergies or respiratory issues or lung issues,
Hives.
um, yeah, and it's cool because quercetin, the shape itself lets it sit on top of the cell surface, which for
Hmm,
whatever reason, I know they said that that's what's very
I didn't know that.
protective in COVID itself because it's inhibiting
Hmm.
viruses, but it's able to be on that protective layer.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, you froze up on me.
You froze. There you are.
Oh,
Hi.
you froze. I didn't
You
freeze. You
froze.
froze.
You
No, you
froze.
froze.
Okay.
I got in this argument with my daughter last night on FaceTime. Uh,
Oh,
so
arguing. Yeah.
So next on the list, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, quercetin,
No,
stinging nettles. Yeah, it's a pretty basic
no.
one.
Yeah.
Next on my list is Inflammacore, which is actually like a
Hmm.
protein powder
Yeah.
base with anti-inflammatory supplements added in there. Um,
Yeah. It
you
just,
fire away with Inflammacore,
I mean, it has quercetin and it also has a bunch of different vitamins and minerals. It has ALA in it. It has a
curcumin.
few, yeah, very powerful antioxidants. I just like Inflammacore because you don't have inflammatory sugars in there. It's pea protein now, which is awesome. I love that. But it's a medical grade food powder. So you're going to get the highest quality and efficacy, and you don't have to swallow a ton of pills. You can drink it in a shake,
Mhm.
mix it in your smoothie, and now you're adding a daily anti inflammatory support. So I don't
Mhm.
have all the specs on it right here at my fingertips, but it's a go-to
But
shake
it's
that we
online.
have.
It's on our store.
It is.
And
It is.
so this list we came up with, actually one of the reasons we came up with it is because we're in our practice, we're kind of big believers in synergy of supplements instead of any
Yeah.
one thing in high dose. Instead of doing curcumin 4,000 milligrams, we
Yeah.
like to use Tareva curcumin and fish oil and an SPM and CBD and Inflammacore. And so unfortunately it means you have a cocktail of stuff, but the cocktail, the synergy in our experience works better than just doing
Hmm.
one supplement and taking 10 of those pills.
Yeah.
So that's why we've kind of listed all of these. And of course, everybody's different. Everybody's a bio individual. So experiment with those. Of course, everyone needs to take fish oil, no questions asked. But all those other ones we mentioned, Tareva is probably the most powerful. But the other ones, mix and match and see which ones work best for your biochemistry.
Right.
And then last but not least, those are most of the supplements. But I wanted to at least mention that there are peptides that are coming
Yeah.
out that are more and more anti-inflammatory. And so one of the ones we like to use is BPC 157 for anti-inflammation. Um, it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal and having more and more success and actually becoming more and more popular in the general public. People are actually asking us about BPC now. And so BPC is an injectable peptide. It's only from physicians, and BPC stands for body protective complex. And so what they were able to do is isolate this peptide at sites of injury and found out that this BPC peptide is something your own body makes, and it is the peptide that triggers the healing reaction. So when you inject yourself with BPC, it goes all over your body, and it's actually triggering the body to kick into a healing state instead of an inflamed and damaging state. And so we've had a lot of success with BPC. It's really well known for kind of number one best thing it's known for is gut healing. It's great for
Mm-hmm.
gut inflammation. Number two, it's really known for, although I don't know that's the most powerful, is orthopedic issues like tendons and sprained
Mm-hmm.
ankles, sprains and strains. So really heavily used in that regard. Now, obviously, if you sprained your ankle and you're still running on it every day, PPC is not a
Yeah.
miracle. Like it's just going to
Yeah.
try to turn the tides of damage. But back to our metaphor of painting a house on fire, like you got to put the fire out before you start painting the
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
And then third thing that it's really well known for is neuroinflammation. So we talked about how
Mm-hmm.
CBD is an oil. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. It helps with brain inflammation. But BPC seems to be really powerful in the brain on fire people and working to kind of quench those fires.
Yeah.
So look for peptides, ask your physician, or come see us for BPC to
Mm-hmm.
really push your body into that next stage of healing.
Yeah. And you can do injectable or oral.
Mhm. Now, obviously, oral only does the gut. It does not do the whole body, from what I understand. If it does do whole body, it's minimal compared to the injection.
Yeah, it's minimal. There's still some trace amount of course, some cascade, but it's going to be mostly directly influencing the gut, which is good because, and I've used both. I used the oral when I had that GI flare, and I swear that was one of the
Mhm.
only things I couldn't eat anything, and I took oral BPC for like 10 days, knocked it out. And then injectable personally too with musculoskeletal injuries and repair and post car accidents, post, just sprains and strains and everything that you said. And it helps recovery time. And every patient who's taking it right now for recovery has said that, like, hey, I got back in the gym better. I have a patient who goes, I feel less achy. I don't feel like I'm getting old. I feel like I can work out more and, be, I don't know, more of a human being, basically.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Anti-aging.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll close with one final statement and just remind people that you cannot out supplement a bad diet. You cannot out
No,
supplement a bad lifestyle. So
no.
there's no use spending a bunch of money on supplements if you're drinking, smoking, and eating cheeseburgers.
No, don't be hurting after like a car accident or like a sprain and you're eating like a donut and trying to inject BPC. It's not going to work. And then you're going to be like, these peptides suck. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. All right, we'll close this video
Perfect.
here. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, like our channel, subscribe, and check out our courses online. Check out our
Yes.
store if you want to get any of these supplements that we may carry.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Cool. Bye, guys.